Okay, it's a party around here, everyone. Take 3 of this intro. Today we are talking about pistol lights, and not one particular pistol light in particular. We'll be talking about, I think, 4 different ones, or at least 4 different manufacturers, and kind of giving you a crash course in, look, if you got a pistol, you need a pistol light for it. Here's a few different options. There's some pros and cons. I would say, unlike our video on rifle lights that I think is already out by now, pistol lights is very, there's 2 winners, 2 losers here, is how I'm looking at this.
I would agree with you.
And on the rifle lights, it was like, bunch of winners.
Before number 1s,
yeah.
I think.
Which is not to say there's not bad rifle lights out there, but like, not in our video, there's not. But this, yeah, we got a couple turds.
Agreed.
Before you start going, well, where's Streamlight and where's O-Light and all this kind of stuff. Look, if we're not reviewing it here, it's probably because we don't own it, okay? So instead of asking about, oh, what's the, look, we probably don't have it if we aren't covering it here, so everyone relax a little bit. Before we get into it, thanks to Ciguera Gear, sponsoring the whole
belts
channel.
on the market.
Yeah, sponsoring the whole channel now. I've got mine floating around back here somewhere. This is the standard Emissary belt. It's an EDC belt, but I wear this at the range. This is actually my range belt because I'm not actually historically a big battle belt guy.
Yeah, I am a battle belt guy.
Yes.
And they make both.
Yes, Battle Wagon.
Yep, and their underbelt, which I use, their whole system is
Same.
Velcro.
That's what I use.
Battle Wagon goes on top, we go to battle, right? So great belts. We've been running them for years now. Great people over there.
Yep.
They got some cool stuff coming in that has a thermal mitigation.
Yeah, the Gen 2s, yeah.
Which is kind of cool. So looking forward to getting those.
Yeah, they've got those. The code is 1911 Syndicate. There's no space. It's all lowercase. It saves you 10% off of those. Yep. So, hey, get you guys some saving, helps our channel out as well, so everyone wins there. So, check them out. All right, let's start diving into this stuff. So, let's start with Surefire. Let's start with the biggest guy in the room. The irony of Surefire to me is this. I am completely disinterested from Surefire rifle lights, and on pistol lights, they still have me.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, not the turbo, but the previous. I think the gold standard for a weapon pistol-mounted light is the Surefire.
Yes.
For
sure, the gold standard.
Yes.
For sure, the gold standard.
I think if anyone says any different, I'm sorry, you're out of touch.
I think you're off on that.
Yep.
Rifle lights, I would disagree with that, but on pistol lights, I do agree.
100%.
So the one we're looking at here is the X300 Turbo. So this is the
first time I've seen one.
Yeah, so this is the latest, greatest thing, right? They have an A model and a B model just like before. What's the difference in that? Well, the A model uses these little QD style clips, right? That like you just clips on to like any pick rail. The B model uses this screw. The B model comes in handy when it pertains to especially certain types of 1911 or 2011 rails.
Sure.
Because they all kind of wind up in a little bit different spec category. Sure. Much to my own shock, the Infinity takes an A model, which is very strange to me. Normally you would have to run a B model. Like my Fowler, you got to run a B model.
B model, yeah.
So it's kind of hit and miss. But hey, if you're running 1911s, I recommend a B model. Pretty much anything else, an A model, which would include, most of your, your Glocks and all that kind of stuff. So the Turbo, it is the same footprint, it will take all the same holsters and everything, but the output on the Turbo, 650 lumens, 66,000 candela. Now that is a jump from the previous gen by quite a bit. Lower on the lumen, so if the old gen was, this guy right here was 1,000 lumens, but 11,300 candela. So basically, hey, we reduced the overall, how bright it is, but we way upped the overall distance that this thing will go, okay? And it is a bit of a different beam pattern for sure.
Okay.
The old one was way more of a flood, the Turbo is way more of a beam. Like it's like laser beam, laser beam, and we'll show you some B-roll of that.
Yeah,
but it's
we'll
like
show you that.
Laser beam versus a bit more of a soft kind of flood, right?
Sure.
So I actually really do like the Turbo, very solid there. A couple things, it's running on 2 CR123As. So again, still not using rechargeables. Surefire seems to have some thing not wanting rechargeables, I guess. I don't know. It is rear loading, so you still do
realize they are like a big manufacturer of CR123.
Oh yeah. I've got a basket of those things.
That could be why.
Yeah. Well, they can make rechargeables. So one bummer about the Surefire is you have to take this light off the gun in order to swap the batteries. That is now a dated system, as we will indicate with most of the other lights. That is working against the Surefire. Runtime 1.5 hours. On holster compatibility, one of the things working for Surefire is they're in a similar category to almost like Trijicon with the RMR in my mind, where you go, hey, whether or not you have the best thing, you have the footprint that everyone has designated that like this is the footprint that we're going to use.
Yeah, they all kind of sign off on it.
Right, so it's like on your Safari Land rigs and like my QBO holster for my Infinity, it's like they take Surefire footprints.
First question I ask is, you know, with a bunch of these other lights is, are they Surefire footprint compatible?
Is it going to work? Because I don't want to have to get new holsters when I get a new light. You know, so it's like, hey, the X300 is the gold standard in terms of a footprint. The switches, there's momentary and constant on. I would say their switching is a little bit dated compared to what I would like to see these days. So you have to really push up on these little knobs.
Push in towards the light.
Yeah, like push forward to get it to activate. So like you can't push in or any other direction. If you wind up pushing down, you will just permanently turn on your light. Yeah. Right? So there's only one direction you can go, and that is in. Is it the most ergonomical? I'd say there was a time when it was. These days, I think it's probably a tad bit dated. Sure. You know, as we'll talk about with the paddles related to the Holosun, which to me is one of the things that light does very well.
I do like this paddle for disengaging or turning off the light, because I take my support hand and just move it like this and it turns it off, and then you're good.
Sure, yeah. There's no additional settings, AKA like, can I set it to like high or low or the strobe or any of that kind of shit? Yeah, just is what it is, man. Just a bright light.
Momentary on, constant on.
And they are known to be very, very bomb proof. I have had one that died. I don't have it out here, but I have one that is, I've killed one X300. Price on these $369, so they certainly ain't cheap. They ain't giving these things away. I mean, $369 on a pistol light is a tough pill to swallow.
That is a tough one.
Tough pill to swallow.
Wow, yeah, that's a lot of money.
Okay, before we get into the Holosun PiDs, if you guys are looking for ways to support the channel, Patreon's a great one. That's a system where you just give us money. And
like
that's
a stripper.
Really the easiest
just throw
way.
it at us.
Just tipping your host at Olive Garden at the end of the night is basically what that is. But you do get some behind the scenes content, Q&As, special merch and swag and private classes we do, whiskey releases, all kinds of cool stuff there. And then if you guys need real estate help, you've heard it a million times, but it is true, everyone. 1911 Syndicate is a real estate company. We work all over the country. So if you're in like Boston and you're like, hey, I need to buy like a condo for myself in Boston, cool, call us and we'll help mitigate that for you, right? So go to the website, 1911syndicate.com, and check that out. All right, Holosun.
Holosun PiD. So you have the PiD HC.
That's what I've got.
And I have just the standard PiD.
Yep.
First thing that I gotta hit right out the
HC,
gate.
sorry, stands for high candela. In case you're like, what the hell's the HC?
Oh yeah,
high candela.
High candela. First thing, and it's at the bottom, but I'm gonna hit it right now. $135 for mine. Okay.
For yours, yes.
Yours is 200.
No, that's the what.
Oh, no,
some of them come with a laser included, like the X.
Right.
I think it's X400. Mine, I think, is something like 160, 170, or something like that. But you go,
135
damn.
to 200.
Still, you can get two of these for the price of one Surefire. So the output on mine, the HC, right? It's got two different modes. You can switch back and forth between high and low mode. You do that by holding both paddles at once. So you guys will see if I hold both paddles at the same time, I strobe back and forth between high and low. High, low, high, let go on high, cool, now it's set to high. So the numbers on the high mode are 800 lumens, 42,000 candela. On the low mode, it goes to 400 lumens, 21,000 candela, which is amazing because it sounds like that gets cut by 50%. Doesn't look like 50% when you do it. It looks like a slight drop in the output.
Yeah, I wonder if at distance that would make a big difference.
Kind of interesting though. It's a very nice balance. It may be the best for me in terms of a balance between a hot spot and some flood.
Some good throw, yeah.
Because again, these are never meant to be long range weapons. It's a pistol.
It's a pistol.
Right? Yeah. So it's like, I'm probably looking to illuminate more of an area versus a thing that's 150 yards out.
Sure.
It's a pistol.
Sure.
You know, like,
great argument.
So I think it does a very nice job with the beam.
So mine, 1,000 lumens, 23,000 candela, and it's just fixed.
Interesting.
So I can't up it or lower it. It's just fixed. Okay. 60-minute battery life for mine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, mine will be. Yeah.
For yours.
Same.
Yep.
On low mode, yeah.
Yep. 18350 batteries included.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And one of the coolest things, you can leave it on your gun while you recharge it.
The charging is very, very nicely done on this.
So the charging, some other lights have rechargeable like that. Those unfortunately blow up your gun. These ones don't. So the little charging port is right there. It will have a little red light when it's not fully charged. It'll turn green when it is fully charged.
So I'm gonna do this with the gloves because it's a nightmare, but it's a front-loading battery.
Yeah.
If I just unscrew this, I can take the battery out and throw it in a charger, or like you said, I can just plug in the little cable to this thing and recharge it that way. But again, if we look at this compared to Surefire, you go, look, man, Holosun is doing, you know, some people love to hate Holosun because of like China, you know, everyone wants to get
on their Chinese devices and yeah.
Right, but it's just like, well, look guys, they're doing innovative, smart stuff. So some other companies would start also trying that hard, maybe we'd start paying more attention to it. But it's like front-loading battery, don't have to take it off. I can charge it with a cord, which means that, hey, if I'm in a patrol car, hypothetically, and I'm like, hey, I'm doing the night shift and I want to charge up my battery. Look, man, I could just literally leave my gun like this, jammed up, plug the little thing into it. And the nice thing is because it's not even hooked in, I could just grab this and go if I needed to.
This is on my nightstand.
Yeah.
So it's charging at night and all I have to do is grab that gun and go.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Holster compatible. Oh, actually on the attachment, so it screws in, right? So it's just flathead screwdriver. But it comes with different bars.
Yes.
So different, I would assume yours was the same, where there's like different tabs that you can put into it, right? So again, on my Fowler, a gun that's a little picky on what light it takes, like there is one bar, worked perfect.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, hey, if it's going on a standard pick rail or this or Infinity or whatever, it's like, hey, you got a few different bars to find the one that's gonna work for your rail. Yeah. Smart.
There's like a universal one for most polymer guns. That's what I have in there and it seemed to work fine.
Yeah, so. Very, very smart. Holster compatibility, I was pleasantly...
It's Surefire footprint, which is awesome. Oh, you know what? My holster's over there. Sorry.
Not entirely.
Oh, really?
Safariland it was for me.
Yeah.
Worked in a Safariland.
Same.
Did not work in my QVO rig for the Infinity, which is set up with the X300.
Okay. Good to
so
know.
It's not entirely, it's kind of, sort of compatible.
It's the width of the body.
I think the thing it's compatible with is the Safariland duty rigs. I don't know that it's compatible with your standard molds on Kydex.
Okay.
TBD, but on a couple mine it was not.
Well, that would make sense because the opening for Safariland's big.
Right. Yeah. So. Yeah. That's what he said.
Yep.
So switching. Very happy with the switching on this. I think they might have the best switching, my favorite switching system in the game. So 2 paddles, both of which have traction on it.
Yep.
Smart. Yep. Gloves, right? Smart.
Texture.
And they are way bigger than the little Surefire nubs. It's like a little nipple you got to push in on the Surefire, which also eventually just kind of uncomfortable, right? Like if we're going to really get nitpicky here. But this is just a paddle, right? Where I just push in, right? Push in.
There's no one behind
right?
the camera.
And you guys can see that, right? So I do believe it is more intuitive, right? To push inward, right? Because think about when I shoot. What does my support hand want to do? Well, it wants to squeeze in.
Yeah, and I'm using my support thumb
squeeze
anyways.
In,
yes.
Right? Versus push forward.
100%.
Forward is nothing that my pistol grip naturally does. Pushing in, it does.
Sure.
So that's very smart. So if I go, getting icy around here, everyone. So if I hold the paddle down for 1, 2, 3 seconds and I let go, right? It switches off.
Yep.
If I just push it, right, and let go, just a tap, it stays permanent on. I like that feature.
I think it's great.
I
At
like
first
that
I was
feature.
like, should they have done it the other way? And then I was like, no, this is perfect.
Yeah, no, they did it the right way. So again, I think the switching's fantastic. I think they crushed it on the switching.
I have probably right around 1,000, maybe a little bit more rounds on mine. Do you have any issues on yours?
No.
Same.
No. I mean, like, this is currently my bedside gun. Like, I mean, I trust the light enough it's on my bedside gun.
Same.
Like, you know, I mean, you know, it's like kind of my money where my mouth is on that one. Like I said, you can switch between high and low settings. I like it. I will actually say this on indoors, right, as a bedside gun right now, I leave it on low mode.
Yeah.
Because it's adequate.
Yeah.
I'm not shooting 100 yards.
Yeah.
Shooting down a hallway if I have to. With white walls, low mode's actually better.
When you have a lot of glass in your hallway, there could be an argument that would kind of throw shit off if there's too much light.
So I leave it on the low mode.
Sure.
You know, that's just me. Price, like we said, I mean, just phenomenal. Like, you're looking at somewhere in the ballpark of 150, 160 bucks. When you go, man, I can buy 2 of those damn things for the price of 1 Surefire.
Yeah.
Really gets tough on the Surefire argument at that point.
And again, time will tell how reliable, but again, I've had 0 issues.
Right now, no issues though.
I'm on Holosun's website, 135 to 200.
Yeah.
So depending on which one.
All right. Let's wrap this up and we'll move on to Modlite. So Surefire was a winner. Holosun, big winner.
Yep.
Now we start moving over to the not so much winners category. So the Modlite. I have this right now on a Langdon P30L, and there's a couple things that the Modlite does very well, and then some stuff that was, I think was a massive letdown. We did a full video on this. If you want the full breakdown, go do that. I'm going to give you the highlights of it. Output, like their rifle lights, you can pick between either head. So you can either run a PLH head or an OKW head. For a pistol light, I think you absolutely should run the PLH head because it's just a better balance of flood and throw. OKW is just goofy on a pistol light, but that's just me. So the PLH head is almost identical to the Surefire X300 Turbo in terms of the light beam pattern. So if you're just wondering how do those stack up, PLH, X300 Turbo, very, very similar in terms of like kind of how they shake up. Front loading battery, which is one of the things that they did well on this, and they were really the first to the game on that, on the front loading battery thing. So good on them there. Other people have now caught up. Runtime 35 minutes. I did notice this recently, which was nice. Hey, when the power gets low, it blinks 3 times to let you know, like when you turn your light on, it'll give you a 1, 2, 3 to let you know, hey, you should start charging your battery up. And then it switches over to a lower setting, like a power reserve. I was like, hey, cool, it's a nice little tech. Cool. I kind of like that. It was a nice reminder. I had that happen one night. It is a screw-on attachment method, and it does come with a couple bars. So it comes with a bar that is for universal rails, and then one that is for like pick rail, like a 1913. So one that's designed for pick, and then one's like universal, like, hey, this should work on pretty much anything else. Does it? Hit and miss. Okay. The bars, they did have some issues with them breaking because they were just polymer or just plastic. So they did have some issue with bars snapping. That's not secret information. I've seen plenty of photos of that on the internet, so you know it must be true. Holster compatibility. So it's probably not going to work on everything, but like, hey, works on this.
Safari Land.
On a Safari Land,
yeah.
You know. So like, hey, there is some holster compatibility. It's not going to work on everything. It's not going to work on some standard Kydex molds, but it will work on some Safari Land stuff, so that is good. Switches, this was their biggest thing that they really dropped the ball on. So it's constant on only. What were you guys thinking on that? Like, what were you guys thinking on that? So it looks kind of like a Surefire where you push in, but you don't. There's nothing that happens when you push in. You have to rotate down, and then your light is on. So 2 problems with this. One, the switching is very loose. So if I say right now with gloves, right? I've got one hand because I'm controlling a whatever, hot girl, right? I'm controlling her as I'm in the firefight right now. I got to activate my light.
She's in front of you, or?
Cool. Well, I'm just holding her by the hair up here, apparently. So I'm moving her around, mostly what would appear to be as a shield, because it would look right now, she's in front of me, I'm behind her, so I'm shooting around her like a riot shield. And so I activate the light, and now I'm like, cool, neutralize that dude. Let me turn my light off. So without gaming it, let's see if I can do it. So one, the switches are a little too far forward, but...
You have to break your grip to do it.
So I did it. I'm being very delicate, okay? Okay, up, and then coming down, powered through it.
You always power through it.
So it's harder to do that direction. Now, I am not in a gunfight. I have no adrenaline dump, nothing, right? I'm in no tactical threat. I'm completely cool as a cucumber right now. And I can barely...
Sure.
Do that. 50% success rate, right? So the switching is simply too loose, and no momentary was a stupid move on their part, in my opinion. It does come with these little filter switches, so if you want to run a longer switch, shorter switch, you can do that. That's cool. I did like that it came with that, but the permanent on for me was an immediate deal killer. I was like, I don't know what you guys were thinking on that, especially with gloves. That the switching is just terrible. There's no additional settings. It's either on, off. There's one mode in terms of how bright it is. Durability, I haven't had any issues on mine. It's been reliable. Price on these, $329. I mean, if you say, hey, $329 on this, I drop an extra $40 and I get a Surefire X300 Turbo, I drop the extra $45 on a...
Or go the opposite route and get 2 PIDs.
Yeah. But it's like, hey, I would either go more expensive to get a Surefire or say, screw that, I'm gonna drop $170 and go get a Holosun.
Cool.
But I would not spend $329 on that.
Okay.
That said, while this is unimpressive, let's take you to the Inforce. All right, so let's talk about the Inforce. This is the big, exciting finale. I know you've all been waiting for it. So this is the Wild 2. First of all, terrible product name, I'm sorry, but that is the Wild. It's wild. I mean, and it's 2, I mean, come on, man. So here's the deal, guys. Output 1,000 lumens, 25,000 candela. Not bad. Honestly, when you see it in person, it's actually pretty decent. Good balance of hot spot and a spill. It does have a very cool tone, that kind of blue thing versus that like warmer yellow tone that draws you in, right? Sorry, what am I doing here? So the battery, two CR2 or CR123As. Rear loading, so you do have to take the light off of the gun in order to replace the batteries. Bummer, not a deal killer, but whatever. Flathead screwdriver, right? Not a quick attach system, not a big deal. Holster compatibility, it does work in the Safariland, did not work in most of my Kydex molds. Okay. So very similar to the Modlite, not really faulting it from that. The switching, here's where for me this becomes just a giant, so real time, let's see what we get here. Sure. Okay. Because this gets real unpredictable and I haven't figured it out yet. So we got paddles. The paddles are actually good. So
I don't know why you have such a hard time standing.
Because this is turned to ice, because I'm standing.
You don't think mine has either?
You're sitting. You're sitting. Okay, so let's see what we get here. I'm pushing the button, nothing is happening. Okay, pushing the button, nothing's happening. Let's go to this side. I push that button, nothing's gonna happen. Okay, let's push both, let's see what happens. Okay. Light comes on.
What?
So I'm gonna push this button, let's see what happens. Okay, it goes off. Now I push this button again, it goes on.
Why didn't
I push it real quick and now it stays permanent on. So what happens on this side? Good, good.
Wait.
Now it's permanent on. What happens when I push both? Okay, now I push this button. So this gets super unpredictable where you will go through phases with this thing where you just can't figure out how, okay, now it's off again. Okay, now it came back on again. So it's the most unpredictable. Now I'm pushing it again, right? Completely, now it just came on. Yep. So the switching is just dog shit. It's completely unreliable. You cannot, on mine, in no way, shape, or form can you depend your life on this as any sort of serious tool. Nope. It is massively unreliable, which is a bummer because the output is actually pretty decent on it.
Can I take that off?
But sure, yeah, help yourself. But based on how unreliable the switching has been, can't recommend that. Just pass. I would buy the Modlite before I would buy that, and I would buy the Holosun and the Surefire before I would buy either of those. So final thoughts, again, Surefire, Holosun, your winners. The other two are pretty self-explanatory, not a huge fan of those. The only argument really in favor of Surefire is like the champion right now is its reputation and that we know they hold up over time. Sure. The only unknown by a counter argument with the Holosun is, hey, we don't know how they're going to do long term because it's a new product to the market. Haven't had any issues.
No issues thus far.
Been totally solid. Yep. So I give it the benefit of the doubt. Like I trust it until proven guilty. And I have no reason to assume it will be guilty, but I'm just saying, hey, Surefire does have the reputation. Holosun to me is a giant up and comer with that light. They knocked it out of the park on that light. They did send us the lights, just in full disclosure, like we're not paid for the video or anything, but just so you know, sure, if a couple pistol lights skews our judgment, then whatever, I guess we're a bunch of shills. So that's that. Talk about FLP real quick, wrap it up.
Yeah, Firearms Legal Protection. They are a sponsor of the channel. They are a self-defense concealed carry insurance, if you will. If you're in a legally justified problem.
Encounter?
You want to call that? Encounter. Whether it's with a firearm, a rock, whatever, if it is legally justified, you are covered. They have multiple plans. You have the single man plan. I have the family traveler plan. So, you know, I travel quite a bit and my wife is also covered under that. If you type in, when you sign up, 1911 is the discount code, save you a couple bucks. And
a lot of bucks.
Yeah, it'll save you a couple bucks on each plan.
Yeah.
And as the plans go up, you'll save even more dollars.
Yeah.
They have incident cleanup. So, you know, you make a mess in your house, some dude's gonna come clean it up.
When you call them, you get an attorney, okay? Like you don't get like a customer service rep, like you actually get an attorney when you call them. So like it really is like, I know you guys probably are like, I wonder if anyone ever believes the shit they sell on these videos. It's like, guys, it's an actual good service. Like, you know, it really is a good service. We think you guys will get benefit from it, which is why we bring it to you.
And it's being a responsible adult.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, good to see you via the internet in the comments. Chime in with any questions you got. We'll jump in there and answer them. Beyond that, we'll see you next time.
That's it. Thanks, guys.